Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back to your daily crypto news and analysis. And today we're going to be talking about a few things around Hedera Hashgraph, aka Hbar. So let's just dive in and let's take a step back all the way to 2021 when we did see DBS announce that they were becoming a governing council of Hedera's, and we do see DBS becomes first Southeast Asian bank to join Hedera governing council. Now, at the time, obviously, this was very exciting. DBS is a massive bank. We do see over here that they had about 686 billion total assets. This is SGD. They had 6.8 billion net profit. You can see all the other major statistics around them as well. Very large bank, and they are centered on sustainability. They also have a ton of other engagements within the digital area. They love DeFi. They have been focused on it for a while. We will get into that here in a second as well. But nonetheless, let's take a dive into how large of a use case this actually is becoming. And we're going to connect the dots with a few things as well here. So first off, to understand how large of a use case this actually was at the time in this announcement, we do see as the first and the only bank in Southeast Asia to join the governing council, DBS Bank will explore further opportunities and potential use cases to leverage the vast potential of blockchain and DLTs as it continues to reimagine the future of banking. So like I said, this is not a new announcement. Obviously, a lot of people are aware of this announcement already. We actually did a breakdown of this back in October of 2021. And a year later, we are starting to kind of see a lot of things morph into reality now, and we do see DBS becoming a major player, and we'll get there in a second. Now, we do see that DBS has been actively leveraging blockchain to offer solutions in areas including cross-border payments and settlements, as well as trade financing. With asset digitization and tokenization fast gaining traction, DBS also launched its blockchain-backed digital asset ecosystem last year. Anchored by the DBS Digital Exchange, DBS is able to offer corporate clients and accredited investors an integrated suite of solutions across the digital asset value chain. DBS is pleased to join some of the world's most established organizations on the Hedera GC as we collectively seek to uncover the vast potential of blockchain and DLT. We have been leveraging emerging technologies to reshape the future of banking and have in recent months brought to market a number of innovative offerings powered by blockchain to help our clients seize opportunities in the new normal. We look forward to joining our peers at the Hedera GC and exploring further use cases that bring tangible benefits to our stakeholders. Of course, they do mention a few other things around here as well. And I do think that this is going to be interesting. So, like I said, a ton of other GCs are already on the actual list around, finance, payments, legal, all that kind of stuff. But let's actually take a look at what I do believe that DBS is doing here with Hedera. So, obviously, it's going to be centered on digitization and tokenization, especially in terms of a lot of the other things here that they do mention around like cross-border payments and things like that. I think that this is perfect. I mean, when you go and look at the enterprise area over on Hedera's website, you can see, track and trace, asset tokenization, fraud mitigation, ERP, CRM, and EAM, identity and authentication, permission blockchain. Like, these are all of the great areas that Hedera are really kind of centered on, especially for enterprise use cases. Now, you might be wondering, well, okay, this is pretty cool, but what is the scope of this? Well, first off, we look at the tokenized or the token service itself. This is centered around finance, like financial services in general. So tokenized assets change the way ownership and value exchange is defined. Again, this is really kind of the scope of this use case because this is going to be the big one around financial services. Now, with all of this, you also do check out the consensus service, which is going to be the big thing behind, we'll say, cross-border payments, because again, with payments on Hedera, you can get the real-time settlement, you can get the low and predictable fees, and you get, of course, regulatory compliance with KYC and all that kind of stuff, which would be perfect for a major bank. They want to be ahead of the major move around digitization. By 2023, which, by the way, is, of course, coming up pretty quick, digital transaction values could reach about $6.7 trillion globally, which is pretty large. And I do think that public DLTs that enable the issuance of stablecoins and other cryptocurrencies for payment use cases reduce costs associated with payment processors and point-of-sale systems. I think that they are going to be the big ones around this area to really kind of take over. And then, of course, tokenized assets, you could read all about them here as well. But the reason why I bring up all of these is because when we look at what they are focused on here, It's really kind of centered around the cross-border payment scene. It's centered around, payments in general, but also tokenization and digitization, which are going to be pretty big. And they are going to be within the trade financial scene as well, which is $1 trillion. There's a lot of money there to be disrupted. I think it's like $19 trillion market with like a $1.9 trillion technology gap within there. But cross-border payments definitely are a huge thing with settlement. And again, you can see you will get the real-time settlement through this, and it is going to be on par with the Visa network, for an example. So this would be great, especially around stablecoins, HBARs, and all that kind of stuff. Now, recently, going back to February 14th, we did break down what this announcement meant as well for Hedera, which was Singapore's mega bank DBS, $500 billion in assets to launch retail crypto trading by year end. DBS CEO says there's a lot of work to be done, but expects the platform to be live by the end of 2022. We're coming up on the end of 2022. It looks like they're moving pretty quick, and it takes me to my next major thing that I want to talk about. So just recently, today, we did see DBS Bank says it tested blockchain DeFi protocols for Forex bond transactions. This is pretty huge. Just to give you guys a quick insight, the Forex market, the FX market, is a $7.5 trillion a day market. This is pretty large. Now, there's not a lot to this. We will break down a little bit more what this could mean. But we do see Singapore-based DBS Bank, the largest lender in Southeast Asia, said it's one of the first banks to test trading of Forex exchange and government securities using permission decentralized finance liquidity pools on a public blockchain. Very interesting. And then over here, we do see Singapore's DBS explains how big banks can implement DeFi too. This goes back again at the same time that this got announced. Project Guardian involved Ethereum scaling system Polygon, DeFi lending platform Avi, and decentralized exchange Uniswap. Now again, there's no mention of Hedera at all here, but we're going to get to that here in a second. So we do see down here, Singapore has quietly been playing host to some of the most advanced explorations into cryptocurrency and DeFi ever done by big banks, institutions, and regulators. In particular, Project Guardian, which sets out to test asset tokenization and DeFi for banks, launched in early summer by the Monetary Authority of Singapore, saw Singapore's DBS Bank joined by JP Morgan and Japan's SBI Digital, as well as Market Node, a digital asset platform built by Singapore Exchange, SGX, and Temasek. I hope that I'm saying that name right. The first phase of testing involved trades in tokenized Singapore government securities, Singapore dollars, SGD, Japanese government bonds, and Japanese yen, JPY, which was done using Ethereum public blockchain overlay system, Polygon, DeFi lending platform, Avi, and Uniswap, a decentralized exchange, and also an automated market maker. Now, again, to me, I understand the scope of this. I get why they are utilizing Polygon and really kind of entertaining the idea of utilizing these other major DeFi offerings here. The reason why I bring this up and the reason why I wanted to talk about it is because at some point in time, the efficiency will shine a lot more from Hedera's side. We've already started to see that. At some point in time, I do believe that Hedera will be incorporated within the scope of this, but this could be pretty large in general for Hedera, knowing that they already have exposure to DBS. Over here, we also do see, going back to May 31st of this year, Singapore to look at crypto use cases with DBS, JP Morgan, and Market Node. This was those DeFi applications that we were kind of talking about, or I should say that we talked about back in May. I think I did a full-on report on this, and we're kind of seeing this morph into reality now. These things kind of take a little bit of time, but I think that this is interesting because at some point in time, this will be interconnected between all other major networks. We even do see like the project will explore the feasibility of tokenization and DeFi using open interoperable networks, enabling digital assets to be traded across platforms, including existing financial infrastructure. Now, as I said, when we look here, there's no mention at all of Hedera. But the thing here that is very interesting to me is this quote here, which is banks and traditional financial institutions see opportunities and efficiencies to be gained by copying DeFi's success in crypto, with the boldest moves involving public blockchains and promising to bring trillions in existing financial instruments to the party. As we really kind of look at this entire market, obviously I'm not going to argue here and say, hey, we are extremely early because we all know that we are. Use cases like this, and even this project, which by the way, you could all go and look at this project, which this was when we first actually seen it fully announced. This is where I got that article from. But they have a full-on breakdown of this project. There's really no mention, like I said, of Hedera. But what's very interesting about this, and I even said this with XRP, because there was also another major announcement around something very similar with the BIS that also want to utilize DeFi for their it was for the FX trading markets for $7.5 trillion per day. Absolute huge area of focus. Now this doesn't technically tell us the full-on scope of it. It's essentially the FX market still, but they are centering it on a few things around atomic trading, clearing, and settlement. That's their three areas in terms of benefits. Now, again, I always look at what they could also benefit from utilizing something like Hedera within this area. Obviously, real-time settlement would be a big plus, but also you do see like the low and predictable fees and things like that. You could still see low predictable fees utilizing something like Polygon, but I don't think that's even near the efficiencies of Hedera, because I've utilized both of them for transactional data, and I have used Polygon many times in the past for buying tokens on Uniswap. I just don't see how this would be extremely beneficial for, DeFi offerings. I totally understand it though. But the thing that is very interesting about this to me is that the big banks are ready. Big banks are ready, institutions are ready, even though this doesn't include Hedera, which I'm totally comfortable with. I don't even care about this including Hedera. The reason why I bring this up is the fact that we already know that DBS is working with Hedera. At some point in time, like I said, Hedera will most likely be incorporated. When you go to the council members and you actually look at some of the largest financial giants here, you could let's just put into perspective, Standard Bank, massive giant bank, Shinhan Bank, again, huge player within the financial space, FPOS, huge giant, which we've talked about many, many times in the past, Aberdeen, however you want to pronounce it, huge giant, DBS, even I don't think Denton's is too big into the financial space, but I think that they might have some connections within that aspect. I think Nomura was a huge one, and FIS. FIS was one that we talked about in the past. They're a giant GC member. The reason why I bring this up and the reason why I talk about it is because we already know that Hedera has a ton of major connections to the financial sector, and they already have a lot of major banks under their belt. Going forward, I do believe that everything happening around adoption of crypto and DeFi within the banking sector is really kind of warming this entire industry up to mass adoption within the banking and the institutional grade sector. There's just one thing holding a ton of this money back from flooding into crypto. And can you guess what that actually is? It's regulations. Regulations are a big barrier to success around this market. And I do think that once we see regulations ushered in, I think that's going to be a little bit late to the party for investors to jump in. I think that us being positioned now is a great way of us getting ahead of the game. But if you go and look at Hedera's site and you go to the areas of focus for case studies, you could see payments down here, or if you just want to go to focus area and go to financial services, you could see all of the major financial services labeled here. A lot of these include, stable coins, micropayments, and a whole bunch of other stuff. I mean, you could even see like DLA Piper, which is focused on asset tokenization with Toko. Major giant use case, which we've broken down many times in the past. Alliance Block is also trying to build out, a bridge to DeFi in the traditional financial sector. I'm pretty sure Alliance Block, I really want to say that Alliance Block has a partnership. Let me go check out their ecosystem real quick, because I'm pretty sure that they have a partnership to Polygon. So Polygon's on here. And who was the other player that they mentioned? It was Polygon and Uniswap, I'm pretty sure. So as we do see Polygon over here, I don't know if they have Uniswap on here. I know that they have a whole bunch of other major names. I mean, we've broken this name down many times in the past, but the reason why I bring this up is because they also have a partnership with Hedera, obviously, and this would be a perfect name in the game to be the bridge between DeFi and CeFi in this category, and it might even power this because, again, they're not mentioning all of the major names. There's also public blockchains that they're utilizing within this, as they do mention here. You know, they are talking about, was done using Ethereum public blockchain overlay system, Polygon, DeFi lending platform, Avi, and Uniswap, a centralized exchange and automated market maker. I think on the other one it said other players too, but maybe I'm just reading it wrong. But nonetheless, hey, it is what it is. I'm just trying to connect the dots here. All we know is that at the end of the day, there's a ton of major financial applications here built out on Hedera. They are a major giant around some of the largest names in the space, especially for banking and the financial sector. So at some point in time, these huge use cases that are possibly being trialed around we'll say the Forex exchange market, which is a $7.5 trillion a day market, nothing to, write off at all. I think that this is very beneficial for Hedera. Long term, I think that a lot of this money is going to be very beneficial for all players around this market, but I think Hedera's ahead of the game. I think them being connected to DBS for a while is a huge stepping stone for them. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments below, though. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. With that being said, if you guys did enjoy this video, definitely hit that like button, subscribe to notifications on if you guys want more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. As always, up to you all. Have a beautiful day, beautiful night, wherever you guys are in this beautiful world. This has been Nick. Peace out, guys.